The suspects were remanded for 60 days pending conclusion of investigation and legal advice from the Attorney General of the Federation. The suspects were alleged to have committed offences of act of terrorism, treason and treasonable felonies, arson and terrorism. The police said the offence was contrary to sections 2 subsection 1 and 3, 24 and 26 of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022, section 41 and 42 of the Criminal Code Act, section 410, 411, 412 Penal Code Act, and section 4 of the Miscellaneous Offences Act, Cap M17 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and other enabling statutes. Still on court matters, the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal has affirmed the candidature of Asli Godalo as the authentic governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party for Edo State governorship election. The panel of judges of the court, led by Justice Usman Musale, dismissed all the 5 appeals that have to do with the primary election of PDP in Edo State in favor of Godalo. 4 of the appeal were against the judgment of the Federal High Court that asked that Kevin Mohammed and his group should be allowed to participate as delegates in the primary election that took place on February 22, 2024. 2 of the appeals were from the PDP and 2 others from the National Secretary of the party. The court in its position reiterated the evergreen posture of the law that a delegate has no right of action in respect of primary election of his party. The 5th judgment was on the appeal filed by one of the aspirants, where he complained about the judgment of the Federal High Court that dismissed his actions against Godalo as a lawful and authentic PDP candidate in Edo State. The court held that the appellant remains a member of the party but has failed to explore the internal mechanism of the party to resolve the matter. This was in line with the decision of the trial court to the effect that he was an aspirant but failed to exhaust the internal mechanism of the party before rushing to court. The case was adjudged to be premature. That position was reaffirmed by the Court of Appeal on Monday.
Documents that were delivered today in respect of the Edo State gubernatorial primary election. 4 of them were appeals against the judgment of the Federal High Court that asked that Kevin Mohammed and his group should be allowed to participate as delegates in that primary election that took place on the 22nd of February 2024.
The Nigerian police force says 97 suspects have been arrested in connection with attack on police personnel during a fracas between the police and members of Proscribed Islamic Movement of Nigeria (IMN), commonly known as a Shiite group, on police personnel in Abuja on Sunday. Not only that, the police disclosed that several weapons used by members of the group has equally been recovered. Addressing a press conference at the force headquarters, Abuja on Monday, the force public relations officer, Muyiwa Adejobi, said the Inspector General of Police, Olukayode Egbetokun, vehemently condemned the attack and has ordered thorough investigation with the arrest of perpetrators. He added that the attackers, who were armed with machetes, improvised explosive devices and knives, embarked on several violent attacks which left 2 police officers dead instantly and 3 unconscious, currently receiving treatment in hospital. Additionally, 3 police patrol vehicles were set ablaze during the attack.
The Nigerian police force has condemned vehemently an unprovoked attack by members of the Proscribed Islamic Movement of Nigeria (IMN), commonly known as the Shiite Group, of police personnel in Abuja on August 25, 2024. The incident occurred at Kuse Junction by the traffic lights, where assailants targeted a police checkpoint and descended heavily on policemen on duty.
The force PRO reaffirmed the unalloyed zeal of the IGP and the entire force to arrest other involved persons and bring the killers to justice, emphasizing his commitment to maintaining law and order and resisting all sort of anarchy and arrest in any part of the country. Reacting to the incident, the Southwest Coordinator of Islamic Movement of Nigeria, commonly known as the Short Group, Muftau Zakaria, said they were on peaceful religious procession and religious activities, stressing that all authorities concerned have been informed about the exercise since Friday. He said the exercise was disrupted by security agencies and occupied everywhere within the Federal Capital Territory. However, the Nigerian Police Force expresses determination to uncover the full extent of this attack and prevent future occurrences of such violence against police officers. The force therefore solicited the support and understanding of the general public in its quest to maintain law and order, even in the face of extremist threat and other forms of violent crimes across the country.
I also partaked in the procession on Saturday that we did in what do you call it now? Maraba and Suleja. I took part in the one that happened in Suleja. We did everything peacefully and everything ended peacefully.
You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Coming up next. Federal government restates its determination towards curtailing the spate of malaria through actionable programs of actions. Details of that and more coming after the break. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our Facebook page, on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page as Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818 6666 669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Now to other stories. A 7-day warning strike has been declared by the Association of Resident Doctors in Nigeria as a result of the abduction of their colleague, Dr. Ganiyat Popola. In a similar note, Galaxy's Oluwadara Kingbongbe had an interactive session with resident doctors at Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, whereby the doctors justify reason for embarking on the strike. The report.
Dr. Charles Aisudo, President Association of Resident Doctors, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, stated that the most important thing is for the association to get their colleague, Dr. Ganiyat Popola. He said the essence of the industrial action is to seek for help.
We have cajoled, we have pleaded. Now I think it's time to take action. We had already, gone to media houses, including your very good station, for us to bleed our cause, for our colleague to be united back to her family.
On the other hand, Dr. Morolayo Onomusi, Social and Welfare Secretary, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital Association of Resident Doctors, said that according to the National Executive Council meeting, a 7-day total strike has been declared in order to get help from government for the release of Dr. Ganiyat Popola.
Well, for now, according to the meeting that they had at NEC, we were told to embark on a 7-day total strike. after which, of course, further deliberations will be made. Again, the effort of this is to get attention and to get help from the public in order to return Dr. Ganiat Popola home with her family.
Dr. Charles also sympathized with the patient, emphasizing that consultants are on ground to take care of them.
We sympathize with our patients, and this was also deliberated on the floor of the NEC, where we were told that for those that have been in the hospital, we need to do a proper handover. It's not all doctors in the hospital that are going on strike. We still have our seniors, our consultants, who actually owns this patient. They are expected to take over the management of these patients, and the modalities as regards the management plan will be discussed with them by our management who employed us.
Dr. Ganiat Popola is a registrar in the Department of Ophthalmology at the National Eye Center, Kaduna. She was abducted on December 27, 2023 in company of her husband and nephew. Popola and her nephew remains in captivity while her husband regained freedom in March.
Meanwhile, resident doctors at the Federal Medical Center, Makodi, have all down tools to proceed on a 7-day warning strike in solidarity with their adopted colleague, Dr. Ganiat Popola, who have been in captivity in the last 8 months after being kidnapped by gunmen since last year December at her residence. The resident doctors are joining their counterparts on nationwide warning strike, which commenced on Monday, 26 August 2024, to pressure the federal government and the security agencies to rescue Dr. Ganiat from her abductors. The resident doctors, which accounts for as the bulk of doctors in the hospitals, are leaving their services to at other hospital staff following what they described as government's insensitivity to the plight of doctors, while stating that doctors' life matters too. The President's National Association of Resident Doctors, NAD FMC Makodi, and one family kidnapped doctor called on the government to protect them as this becomes worrisome for those practicing in Nigeria.
None of our members is going to be seen within the hospital environment carrying out any work whatsoever. We are not going to be seeing patients, whether in clinics, we're not going to be seeing patients, whether in the emergency, we're not going to be seeing patients in the labor ward, we're not going to be seeing patients in the gynae emergency ward, we're not going to be seeing patients in the pediatric ward. And all our members across the hospital are not going to come to work for the next 7 days.
I happen to be one of the victims of this kidnapping activities in this country. And there is not any experience that anybody on earth will even wish his or her worst enemy, if at all you have any. Well, very terrible experience that you cannot wish anybody on earth. Plead and wish that the government of the day and the security agents will do everything within the reach of their powers to ensure that they secure her safe release back to her family.
My appeal to the security agency concerning this issue of kidnapping is that they should carry out, they will put in everything in place to make sure that our colleague is released.
The 7-day working strike embarked by the leadership of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has witnessed total compliance at the Federal Medical Center at Abeokuta. This development has grounded activities at the hospital, leaving patients as well as residents stranded. Speaking to Galaxy TV News, President ARD FMC Abeokuta, Dr. Adewumi Babatunde, said the strike became imperative following the abduction of their colleague, Dr. Ganiat Popola, who was kidnapped nearly 8 months ago. He stated that doctors have become targets of kidnappers, declaring they are working under strenuous conditions. Dr. Babatunde, however, urged government to do all within its reach to secure the safe release of Dr. Ganiat.
FMC Abeokuta Association of Resident Doctors is complying 100% with the strike because we believe that injury to one is injury to all. Doctors should not be targets of kidnapping. In the past few weeks, we've heard a lot of things and we've been patient enough. For the past 8 months, we have been trying to negotiate and talk, but now we are tired. Enough is enough. Dr. Ganiat Popola has to return to us.
And still on that story, the Association of Resident Doctors, University College Hospital UCH chapter, has called on the federal government to do all within its powers to rescue Dr. Ganiyat Popoola. It will be recalled that Popoola, a registrar in the Department of Ophthalmology at the National Eye Center, Kaduna, was abducted on December 27, 2023, along with her husband and nephew. She has been in the kidnapper's den for 8 months. Her husband was released in March, while Popoola and her nephew remain in captivity. The ARD president at UCH, Dr. John Oladapo, who made the call while speaking with Galaxy News in Ibadan, said the branch is joining the 7-day national strike embarked upon by the national body of the association to press home their demands.
We press home our demands for the unconditional release of Dr. Ganiyat Popoola. Dr. Ganiyat Popoola is a senior registrar in ophthalmology at the National Eye Center in Kaduna, who was kidnapped on the 27th of December 2023. She has been with her abductors since then, despite entreaties, pleas, supplications. She was abducted alongside her husband and her nephew. The husband has been released. However, our colleague and the nephew still remain in.
Oladapo said the government had the capacity to rescue the doctor. He said they are joining the strike to press home the release of their colleague, Dr. Ganiyat Popoola. He stressed that Dr. Popoola was trained at University College Hospital Ibadan and hails from Isheyin in Oyo State, while trusting in the capacity of the government to rescue her. Dr. Oladapo highlights the abduction as one of the issues leading to brain drain in the health sector. Members of the association had earlier protested in all tertiary hospitals across the nation to demand Popoola's release.
We also believe that this situation draws attention to one of the push factors responsible for migration of healthcare workforce, which is critically short at this time. We don't envisage a situation where the government will not be able to rescue her in the next 7 days. If that unfortunately happens, the National Executive Council of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors will reconvene and will chart a way forward. But we do not hope that that is the case.
Now in Kaduna State, the strike, which began at 12 a.m. as was declared by NAT's National Executive Council following an emergency meeting held to address the dire situation, Dr. Mohammed Okanake, resident of NAT National Eye Center Kaduna, the primary place of assignment where Dr. Ganiyat Popoola was kidnapped, said the strike is a direct response to the kidnapping of the colleague who has been held captive for 8 months.
If you go around, you realize that no doctor, as I speak, no resident doctor, let me be more specific, is on ground currently to work. That is based on the directive of the national body. After our virtual meeting yesterday, we agreed to shut down every center. All residents in those centers will stop working. And currently, as a primary institution, in fact, we've done the need. We've handed over all the patients to the senior people, that's the consultants, to take care of them. And that's why you still see people hanging around. Because unfortunately, some people came from far. This is a national eye center, it's a national hospital. So people came from different parts of the country. And we can't just, the management felt they can't just let them go. And so they begged the consultant to please do whatever they can do, at least to sort people from far.
Dr. Upanaki said Ganiyat is a mother of 5 and described her as a very compassionate person who he has worked closely with, as one who has dedicated herself to service to humanity and her fatherland. A visit to a residence at the doctor's quarters where she was abducted alongside family members who have since returned showed that the residence has been deserted, as no one lives in the house anymore. And to the story teased earlier, the federal government has restated its determination towards curtailing the spread of malaria through actionable program of action. The Minister of State for Health, Dr. Tunji Alausa, made the disclosure while speaking with journalists in Abuja after a virtual inaugural meeting of Nigeria End Malaria Council. He said that Nigeria currently has the highest burden of malaria in the world. According to him, 25% cases of the disease domicile in Nigeria, noting that most of malaria deaths in the country occurred in children. Just as he said malaria constitutes huge human capital loss from people not going to work in school. The Minister of State for Health said all hands must be on deck, not only to move from just maintaining malaria, but to actually work towards eliminating it, like it's been done in other countries.
Airports support what the country is doing to eliminate malaria. As it is now currently, we have one of the highest burden of malaria in the world, and 25% of global malaria cases is domiciled in Nigeria, and about 630% of 30% of 600,000 deaths from malaria, Nigeria accounts for that. And if you imagine, most of these deaths occur in children and in pregnant women. Also, malaria constitutes a huge loss of human capital from people not going to work, people not going to school, and also it's an indirect drain on our economy.
He said the essence of Nigeria End Malaria Council is to mobilize support and aspect the plans by the entire continent to end malaria, noting that Nigeria has signed a declaration on how to scale up actions in ending malaria. On her part, the Executive Secretary, Nigeria End Malaria Council, Okpe Abegunde, said all hands must be on deck towards prioritizing malaria agenda and ensure that the country move from the present level to where it is supposed to be regarding the fight against the scourge of malaria. She added that the projection of the World Health Organization is for the country to end malaria by 2030, adding that the country is far from achieving the set goal.
Several months this year, there was a convening of a meeting in Yaoundé that I actually attended as well. Meeting of the 11 African countries that have the highest burden of malaria. We signed a declaration on how we need to scale up quickly our action plan to start ending malaria in our individual countries.
So my expectations are, number one, prioritizing the malaria agenda in Nigeria forward and ensuring that we move from where we're at now to where we hope to be. According to WHO, malaria is supposed to be ended in Nigeria, or malaria is supposed to end in Nigeria by the year 2030.
And still on health-related matters, Rivers State Government, through the Ministry of Health, has organized a stakeholder implementation sensitization meeting on the Rivers State Contributory Health Protection Program for healthcare providers in the local government areas. Addressing the stakeholders and healthcare providers in Port Harcourt, the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Adaize Ore, said the State Contributory Healthcare Protection Program is part of effort in achieving universal healthcare coverage by providing financial risk protection for Rivers people. Dr. Ore says the approval of the implementation of Rivers State Contributory Health Protection Program by Governor Siminalayi Fubara is not something that should be taken lightly.
We realize that there are gaps in knowledge, understandably, and when Dr. Betty said that there would be a need to have this kind of sensitization forum, I was happy to throw my weight behind it. But I will crave all of us with this call to action. The River State Contributory Health Protection Program is our program. And when I say our, I am not speaking about River State government.
On her part, the acting executive secretary of the State Healthcare Board, Dr. Vati Agala, noted that the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is one of their plans for the poor. Dr. Gala, while highlighting some of the packages for civil servants in the state, emphasized that individual residents in the state can also enroll as long as it meets the requirement. As a state coordinator who in Rivers State, Dr. Giwa Abdul assured of giving technical support.
What we want people to know is that the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is one of the plans that the Rivers State Contributory Health Protection Program is implementing. And that plan is for the poor and the vulnerable people in our society. And they include pregnant women, people living with disability, widows, children under 5, adults over 60, and even some people with some chronic illness like HIV, sickle cell, because we have engaged with those set of people and we found that there is a gap and they need to. Those in the informal sector, you don't work for anybody, you work for yourself, you own a small company, whatever, you too can access healthcare. We have packages that are corporate for companies, but we also have individual packages of 15,000 naira. So a regular person who does his markets or a driver, you can buy a plan for 15,000 per year and access all the health services that are common to us in our environment.
For the bold step of establishing and implementing the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, which is known to be one of the most cost-effective healthcare intervention. Another giant stride that His Excellency has taken is the subsidy for the vulnerable population of the elderly, pregnant women, children, and other vulnerable groups.
Now, moving on to other stories, the recent revelation by the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, on the high rate of certificate racketeering, even from foreign institutions, has raised concern on the impact it has on the nation. Galaxy's Nyanwaran Gilmizaka gives more details in this report.
The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, has disclosed that over 22,500 Nigerians are parading fake certificates obtained from Benin Republic and Togo between 2019 and 2023. This revelation has drawn in a lot of reactions and concerns from Nigerians on the retrogressive implication of certificate racketeering on the nation.
In Nigeria here, we place too much emphasis on certification, all right? But the issue is this. Not only in Benin Republic, we have seen people even having fake certificates here in Nigeria.
We need to look critically at our system. What is making our children or our people to go abroad or to look outside Nigeria in search of education? Those who are going to Togo are those who cannot go to UK, who cannot go to America and all those other expensive countries. So, because everybody wants university education, they decide to go there. And we have a system before where the Ministry of Education evaluate those certificates. I don't know whether that the decision the ministry has taken is based on that maybe they've seen that most of the products of those universities are not up to par.
People are more desperate to access education, which reduce the access to education. People become very desperate in a population of 200 million and perhaps going to 100 million or over 100 million young people, and our universities and polytechnics and colleges of education have the capacity to take only very few number, and in a society where certificate is so highly rated, I do not want to say overrated, people become very desperate. And so it becomes easy for those who want to capitalize on this desperation to extort people, to get them to do all sort of desperate things, including these certificate rackets.
The federal government also approved the dismissal of workers in the public and private sectors with fake degree certificates, stating that their actions dent a negative image on the nation.
Many people do not even know which universities are illegitimate. There is not enough work done to publicize which universities are illegal and all of that. And I think that the commission or the agency really, with duty regarding that, has to do more. The Nigeria University Commission has to do more to publicize which institutions are not accredited, which foreign certificates are not recognized, and I think, of course, more also has to be done to cleanse our university, our high institutions of corrupt practices.
They should be withdrawn from service. 2, if those certificates are found to be forgery, there's a difference between if they forged it or they obtained it in a wrong manner. Forging means that maybe they paid some people and all that. And then the other one is the university itself should be blacklisted. And anybody coming from such places should never be employed or given anything to do in Nigeria.
Nenwarangil Mazaka, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
And other stories, stakeholders, including all arms of government, development partners, civil society organizations, have tasked government to regulate the issue of multiple registration for effective and optimal operations of CSOs in Nigeria. This was part of the submission at a one-day program tagged Southwest Regional Conference on Improving Regulatory Environment for CSO Operations in Nigeria, held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Correspondent John Felix completes the story.
This conference attracted members of the civil society organizations from the Southwest states, members of the State and National Assembly, members of the state judiciary, amongst others. The goal here is to seek for strategic partnership for a thriving non-profit sector in the country, mutual understanding and trust towards deepening the nation's democracy and good governance. In his address, Chairman, House Committee on Civil Society Organizations and Development Matters bemoaned multiple registrations imposed on CSOs. He, however, expressed the readiness of the National Assembly towards effective collaborations.
There is no doubt to the importance of the activities of civil society. We know it, the President knows it, the National Assembly knows it, so we'll continue to work hand in hand with you to ensure that progress is always made and governance is a continuum. So as we see the changes, we adopt and make sure that the people of Nigeria will also get the best from all the arms of government as well as the civil society organizations.
As we work towards creating positive change in our communities, it is essential that we work together effectively. When we collaborate, we bring together diverse perspectives, skills, and experiences that enable us to tackle complex problems and achieve our goals.
Other speakers at the event called for a more conducive operating environment for CSOs in the country.
Protecting CSO autonomy and advocacy. Legislative safeguards. That is, it safeguards subnational legislatures must pass laws protecting the autonomy of CSOs, ensuring they can operate independently of political influence. And this includes safeguarding their right to free speech and assembly.
By combining resources, expertise, and passion, we can achieve far more together than doing it alone. As civil society can advocate for social change, but the organs of government is also there to be able to do what they have to do. And so for us as civil society, the kind of partnership that we can have is a partnership that can engender them to be able to make that commitment.
to do that work that we want them to do.
So I think one of the big challenge we've observed in the civil society sector is the issue of knowledge gap. So many CSOs are not fully compliant with extant laws or existing laws, not because they don't want to, but because they don't even know that they were supposed to do this or to do that, or they're obligated under the law to do that. That is why one of the other initiatives we take on at Global Right is to build capacities of CSOs on regulatory compliance for them to fully understand what their CSC registrations entails. Because a lot of them, they are doing beautiful work before they go on to register. And the moment they register, they just obtain the CSC registration, they just go back and continue their work, not knowing that that certificate they have, that research they've done, has actually committed them to a lot of obligation.
The event was put together by Global Rights in collaboration with Community of Practice on Civil Space Strengthening. From Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, John Felix reporting for Galaxy Television News.
First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu, through the renewed urban initiative RHI, has partnered with National Population Commission (NPC) and United Nations Children Fund (UNICEF) to further ramp up birth registration in the country, with the launch of UNICEF RHI commemorative birth certificate for year 2024. NPC Chairman Honorable Nasir Issa Kwara, who disclosed this after leading development partners to the office of the First Lady in Abuja, said the commemorative event scheduled for August 29, 2024 will mark a major leap in government's effort to offer Nigerian children their first foundational identity. Chief Child Protection Office UNICEF Ibrahim Sese, who was part of the visit, described the launch as important to close the existing gap in birth registration and promote data-driven development plan for children in the country. The official launch of the UNICEF RHI commemorative birth certificate to birth registration in Nigeria will hold on Thursday, 29th August in Abuja. Now, we move to the international desk for more news. This is news from the international scene. At least 6 people have been killed after Russia launched a massive attack across Ukraine, seriously damaging some power and water supplies. Explosions rang out in several cities, including Kyiv, on Monday morning, as more than half of the country's region came under attack. Authorities in Zaporizhia, Lutsk, Kharkiv, Zhytomyr, and Dnipropetrovsk regions reported people had died in the huge air raid, which featured missiles and drones. Russia's defense ministry confirmed it had targeted Ukraine's energy infrastructure, one of its long-term tactics, and said all its targets were hit. The barrage of drones and missile attack began across the country overnight on Monday and continued well into the morning. Ukraine's Air Force said explosions were heard in numerous cities from Lutsk in the west to Dnipro in the east, and people were urged to stay in shelters, and the entire country was put under air raid alert. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia had fired more than 100 missiles and about 100 drones. Those who died included 2 men, one aged 69 and another 47. They were killed in separate attack in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Local governor Serhiy Lasek said others were injured, including a 14-year-old girl who was killed in the same region, the local governor said, adding that several houses had been damaged. A man was killed when his house was hit in Zaporizhia. Patients and displaced Palestinians are fleeing Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, the last functioning medical facility in central Gaza, following the latest evacuation orders. The Israeli army demanded Palestinians evacuate an area east of Deir el-Bala in central Gaza, previously classified as a humanitarian area. Israel had attacked several Gaza hospitals since October 7. Avicii Andrea, an army spokesperson, said to all residents and displaced people in the Deir el-Bahar neighborhood in Block 128 within the marked area on the map that forces will operate aggressively in those areas, designating it a dangerous combat area. Several times during the 10-month war in Gaza, Israel has ordered mass evacuations to safer humanitarian areas. Human rights groups and international observers have slammed the inhumanity of the orders and the mass suffering caused as a result. Palestinians have often found themselves attacked by Israel en route to such safe areas, as well as after they reached such zones. Multiple airlines have suspended flights to Israel after Israeli forces and Lebanese group Hezbollah engaged in the heaviest clashes since the start of Israel's war in Gaza. British Airways said on Sunday that it would cancel all flights to and from Israel until Wednesday, while Air France announced the suspension of services to Tel Aviv and Beirut until Monday. Etihad, Ethiopian Airlines and Hungarian low-cost carrier Wizz also announced the suspension of flights to Tel Aviv scheduled for Sunday. Virgin Atlantic said it would extend its earlier suspension of flights between London and Tel Aviv until September 25, following a review of the situation. On Friday, German's Lufthansa extended the suspension of flights to Beirut to the end of September. The airline also said it would not fly to Tel Aviv or Tehran until September 2. Tel Aviv Ben Gurion Airport suspended operations for about 2 hours early on Sunday morning as Israeli forces carried out airstrike on Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon, forcing the diversion of incoming flights. Still on the international scene, 60 global press freedom and human rights organizations have signed a letter calling on the European Union to take decisive action against Israel for its escalating violations of media freedom and the killing of journalists in Gaza, the occupied West Bank and Israel. The letter on Monday urged the suspension of the EU-Israel Association Agreement and the imposition of targeted sanctions on responsible Israeli officials. It was signed by organizations including the International Press Institute (IPI), Human Rights Watch (HRW), and Free Press Unlimited (FPU). Addressing top EU diplomat Joseph Borrell, the European Commission Executive Vice President Valdis Dombrovskis, the appeal underscored the urgent need for action against what they described as unprecedented violations of media freedom by Israeli authorities. The organization outlined 8 actions taken by Israel that require an urgent response by the EU, including the targeted killing of journalists, a ban on independent media access to Gaza, and record-high arbitrary detention of journalists. Since October 7, 2023, Israel has faced accusation of systemic abuses, including the killing of more than 120 Palestinian journalists and media workers in Gaza, and the arrest and arbitrary detention of at least 49 journalists. The letter also highlighted allegations of torture, enforced disappearances, and significant censorship within Israel and the Palestinian territory it occupies. The cumulative effect of these violations, the letter said, was to create conditions conducive to propaganda, misinformation, ultimately undermining the path to peace and security. Gunmen have killed at least 22 people in southwest Pakistan after forcing them out of their vehicle and checking their identity, officials say. The attack happened overnight on a highway in Balochistan province, where security forces are battling sectarian, ethnic and separatist violence. The armed men checked identity documents, reported they singling out those from Punjab to be shot before setting the vehicle alight, officials alleged. The Baloch Liberation Army (BLA), a militant group, has said it was behind the attack in Musakel district. Interior Minister Moshin Nafki said the security forces had killed 12 militants in the operation after the attack, but did not give further details. Over the past 24 hours, the BLA has launched a series of attacks on multiple government installations, including police stations and security forces camps across province. In Kalat, 11 were killed, 5 of them security personnel, 6 bodies were recovered in another district in Balochistan. According to Najibullah Kakar, a senior local official, around 30 to 40 militants were involved in Musakel. The BLA has said it was targeting military personnel traveling in civilian clothes, according to the report. Lastly, on the international scene, at least 60 people have been killed after a dam burst because of heavy rainfall in Wharton, Sudan. Search operations are currently underway, but there are fears that the death toll could be even higher. The Herbert Dam has a capacity of 25 million cubic meters and is the main source of drinking water for the coastal city of Port Sudan, where the military government is based. After being ravaged by 60 months of civil war, Sudan is now experiencing torrential rains and floods that have killed dozens and forced tens of thousands from their homes. The collapse of the dam in Red Sea State is one of the worst incidents, washing away farms and villages downstream. And that's it from the international scene. Coming your way next, entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Riz Blossom Nwe. Here are the stories on the news desk today.
Social media activist Very Dark Man has slammed the celebrities who donated millions to famous crossdresser Bobrisky while in prison. It is no longer news that the crossdresser was arrested over an hour abuse and was sent to jail for 6 months. The crossdresser was released from prison on August 5, 2024, and in an Instagram post, Bobrisky penned a heartfelt note to those celebrities who donated money to him. He appreciated Njazi Eniola Jao, Victor Sime, Funke Akindele, Sotayo Gaga, John Todike, Biodun Kelwo, and more for contributing millions of naira to him. Reacting to it in a series of posts on his Instagram story, Very Dark Man slammed them as he noted how they can't help build boreholes for communities without clean water or send children to schools. He questioned if they were sleeping with the crossdresser or if he was pimping them to top politicians. Now reacting to those criticizing him for calling them out, VDM made them know that he wasn't seeking validations from anyone as he questioned the essence of celebrity friendship. He noted how there is no penalty for insult as he told the celebrities to take him to court if they were offended by his remarks. Nollywood actor and filmmaker Yomi Fabiyi has reacted as an NGO set to hold the Solidarity Assembly for the late singer Ileri Oluwaloba, popularly known as Mohbad, ahead of his first remembrance in a few days. Break the Silence Foundation is organizing a Solidarity Assembly for fans and lovers of the singer in front of the High Court Coroner Inquest in Ikorodu, Lagos on September 11th. He stated that the assembly would continue demanding justice for the late entertainer. The organizers, however, made it known that volunteers shouldn't assemble in the field and there should be no music, noise or chanting in front of the court. He stressed that the assembly is a peace movement for justice. Reacting to it via his Instagram page, Yomi Fabiyi showed support for the solidarity work as he reposted the announcement. Nigerian celebrity designer Tony Lawani is reflecting on her painful delivery journey as her daughter turned 3 today, August 26, 2024. In a lengthy post on her Instagram page, she expressed how grateful she was that her daughter, Tinuke Eleora, chose her as a mother. She stated that it was just like yesterday when she remembered that her doctors told her she couldn't carry her baby to term due to degenerative spine disease, and this left her crying for 3 days non-stop. She, however, didn't give up, and nothing they told her swayed her to go through with parting ways with the pregnancy, even how it affected her health. Tony stated that she endured the pain and is glad she eventually pulled through. Popular skate maker Brain Jota recently marked his sign-out from the University of Lagos with a grand celebration. The comedian was spotted standing on the vehicle singing Maki Diega Gogongo, a track he popularized through an online challenge. Holding a bottle of champagne, he enthusiastically performed the song while his coursemates, who were also celebrating their sign-out, joined in. Although many of his fans were surprised by the news of his graduation, questioning when he started school, they were quick to offer their congratulations.
And that'll be all on entertainment news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rose Blossom Moye. Bye for now.
And that is all we have for you. We thank you so much for watching. My name is Eribami Salako. Do have a great week ahead.
Royal Suites and Hotel presents Lot of Love Comedy